welcome to the Fit Dads podcast. Merry Christmas. You joined us on Boxing Day, where the fit lads are going to empty their sacks of banter. Right.
Empty their sacks was not the opening I was expecting there.
I mean, look, we spoke before we hit record, and I feel like we're going to bring Jekyll and Hyde today, aren't we, mate? Where I seem to be bringing the silliness. I've reached out and got quite a few silly questions from people, a lot of funny would you rathers, some silly facts. I know you said you went with your community, got some myth busting that we're going to do today as well.
Yeah, I put the question out for like a Q&A, and if other topics you want to discuss in detail, and my guys went a little bit more serious with it, I think. But maybe it was the way I phrased it. I don't think I went down the silly route. I kind of went more down the serious route, so probably my fault really. But yeah, we'll do some funny ones, and you've got some would you rathers, and then I've got some kind of more in-depth bits that my audience and my kind of community want to know about. So yeah, let's set it all up.
Let's do it. I mean, I've signed off my intro with let's give you some insights on helpful stuff and very likely some nonsense, which I think's fair.
We love a bit of nonsense,
We
mate.
love it, mate. We love it. Should we kick off in his usual format? Have you got a health and fitness fact for us today?
I have, with a little bit of a twist. Is it health and fitness related? I don't know. I'll let you be the judge. Right. The title reads 11 Ways to Avoid Arguments This Christmas.
I think that's very health and fitness related.
If it avoids a punch-up, it's probably in your health's best interest.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking.
'Tis the season to be jolly, it says. But after a month of festive parties, frantic present buying, and protracted overeating, many of us are overtired and argumentative by the time we reach the big day itself. Throw into the mix a handful of family feuds, a dash of strong alcohol, and a sprinkling of overtired children, and you have all the ingredients for an explosive row. In fact, a recent survey found that the average British family will have at least 5 arguments on Christmas Day.
Just on Christmas Day?
Just on Christmas Day.
Christmas morning for us, mate.
That's by the time we woke up. That's interesting. 5 arguments on Christmas Day. I don't think we have that many. No. I think we're pretty laid back. I think. Yeah. Do I tell that story? I don't know. I did go to. I won't say which side of the family, but I went to one side of the family, shall we say, many years ago, and there was a huge bust up. Huge. I'm talking like. Literally almost like punch up between one of my stepsisters and brothers.
Wow.
I was literally outside. I remember being very vividly on Christmas Day sat at a bus station outside their house just trying to cool him down. I won't go into more details than that, but it was the first time I thought, wow, yeah, Christmas is very heated.
Do you know, like on TV when football, like when you see them getting all fisticuffs and commentator goes, no one wants to see this. You go, well, we do.
We kind of do.
We sort of do, but as long as everyone's all right.
Weirdly, I really didn't know. It was like, it kind of, if I'm being honest with you, it kind of ruined the day.
Yeah.
It kind of like, it was a nice day. It was great. We played some games and stuff. Then, as it always is, we had a game, and one lad had got a little bit pissed and he was taking the mickey a little bit. Girl didn't like it, and all of a sudden it's like literally I'm holding this lad back and she's trying to like go at him, and I just remember thinking, right, we took him outside, sat at this little bus stop. Yeah, it was weird. It was I mean, me and my brothers argued when we were young, but we never really had it like that.
If I had to guess, I think it's when you bring families together, because me and Amy talk about this all the time. Like, we were raised completely different in a sense of like really busy household for me, and then her house is just like she's an only child. So it's very chilled, very, very calm, and my house is just hectic. And if someone says something and you can't just like water off a duck's back, so Amy sort of learned really quick. She's like, okay, I'm not going to take anything personally, let's just get on with it.
It's hard with families, isn't it? Because you've grown up with them, you've known them your whole life, they know how to push your buttons, they know what to say, and I think you're a little bit more touchy about what they say, because I think weirdly you respect their opinion, and you want them to love you and you want to love them, and if anything starts to just stop that kind of bond, you get very touchy about it. So it's emotional. It's a high emotion situation at Christmas Day.
Is your family a bit like that? If you show any sort of weakness, like if you respond to something a bit like
100%,
that's it, you go at them.
Yeah,
that's good.
I hate to admit this as well. Really hate to admit it, but I'm like the overreactor. I'm the one that like will get annoyed if someone says something. I'm the one you can wind up easily, unfortunately.
Younger brothers team up on you.
Yeah, they do. I just can't hold it back. I'm like, fuck, and they can. It's almost like, when you can't hide it, you can see it in your face, just seething. I get a little bit like that.
Yeah.
I tell a lie, actually. There has been one incident. I'm not sure if I've told this on the pod before, but it was actually not Christmas Day. It was Christmas Eve. Many years ago, I can't remember what was happening now. I think we're going to Mum's house on Christmas Eve, and had a few beers, my brother, and I think he just started doing like Thai boxing. And he was like, he just thought he was a bit of the shit, basically. He was like, showing me some things, he was showing me some moves, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, as he showed me, he just leg kicks me straight in my calf. I'm like, fucking hell, mate. And that proper hurt. And I was like, don't be doing that again, because I get it. You're Thai boxing, pal. I can see you hard as nails, whatever. Yeah. I think because I'm the older brother and he's the youngest, he was like pushing the buttons a little bit. And then as the beers are flowing, he's just like giving me these digs on my leg again, basically Thai box kicking my leg every hour or so.
Yeah.
By the end of the night, my calf's in pieces. I'm really struggling. I'm sat down and my leg's throbbing.
Yeah.
And so he's come over, he's tried to do another one, and I've gone, do anything else, mate, I'm going to put you on your ass. What I should mention that by this point is I've not only had a few beers, but I've had about 3/4 of a bottle of whiskey.
Oh, fair. Right.
I'm well and truly on my way. I'm half cut, to say the least. And he's left the room after I've said this, and he's come back in. Now, as he's come back into the room, he's just given me like a little flick on the face, like a little backhanded slap on the face.
Yep.
And I've looked at him and I says, mate, I'm telling you, one more time. And I've just turned my head and he's come over and his leg kicked me again. I've jumped out my seat. I've never moved so quick in my life. And I've grabbed him, MMA style, like round the waist from behind. And I've lifted him up and I've dumped him on the floor. And I think because we've been talking about Thai boxing, I've gone into MMA mindset. So I've got him in like a bit of a rear naked choke on the floor. And as I've like got him there, I think I'm obviously a bit pissed, don't really know what I was doing. I pulled his head up and I felt all his spine just go crack all the way down. And as I put him back down, I've looked up, my mum's there. My mum's partner Steve's there, horrified. What's going on Christmas Eve here? And that was our Christmas Eve punch up. And the funny thing is, we actually, next day, I got sent home, he got sent home. We just shook hands and like nothing happened. Yeah. And we always talk about that. And I think some of the kind of the females in the family are like, how did you just shake hands afterwards? How was there no bad blood? I'm like, it's just what brothers do. Like, you test each other, you have a bit of a tussle, you find out who's the big boss. Obviously, numero uno over here, do you know what I mean? He was never messing with me. And then I just shook his hand afterwards. Do you know what I mean? That's just the way it goes. That's what lads do, innit? We have a fight, sort it out, shake hands afterwards, no bad blood.
I feel like you've just described every brotherly relationship ever.
Yeah.
And again, like I said, Amy's an only child, so trying to explain that to her, like we'll take jabs at each other. And again, Bill and Bobs, if you're watching, stop teaming up on me, because I will beat your ass.
Well, I think, I can't remember who was there. I think we had some of my mum's side of the family, the step sisters and things were there as well. And I remember them being like horrified by it. Like they were like, I don't know if they're outraged or just horrified by what they'd seen. But it's just what boisterous lads do. And, we were like both mid to late 20s, probably, not as mature as we should have been, obviously very drunk. And it's Christmas, isn't it? You know what I mean? It didn't ruin. I say it didn't ruin the day. I actually don't think I got out of bed till about 1-2 o'clock the next day, so I almost missed Christmas dinner. But
did your brother ever thank you, by the way,
for what?
Free, like chiropractic?
He messaged me about a week later and goes, "Mate, my neck still hurts." But yeah, it was again. It's just Christmas, isn't it? It is. The tensions are high. You get a little bit too pissed. Anyway, I'm going to come back to my health and fitness fact because there are some suggestions here on how to avoid these things. Number 1 is make a seating plan. Okay. Just to make sure, I guess, that everyone around the table is sat in certain areas.
Yep.
Number 2 says just lay off the eggnog, which I guess could mean just lay off the alcohol in general. It's going into there's some descriptions with each one, but it's all from different psychologists, this and things of that nature. It says here, share the cooking. Preparing the festive feast is a huge job. Leave it up to one person. It's likely that tempers will become frayed and sprouts will be thrown. I actually not sure if I agree with that.
Really?
Because if one person's left to it, they know what they're doing. When there's too many cooks in the kitchen, things go a little bit like awry, don't they?
I think a lot of it's the prep. So like this year, we're doing you do the starters, I know we spoke about this on last episode about who does what, and we've got a nice prawn cocktail to prep, but they'll do the main and then they sort out the dessert. So different parts of the family will sort different things out. I back that, just because I don't know. I feel like if it's all on one person, what's their Christmas day like? It's so much more stressful than everyone else who's just sat, just chilling,
I think Amy just like a hand. She's usually the cook on Christmas Day, her and her dad. But I was speaking to my hairdresser the other day, and she said her sister always cooks, and she doesn't like anyone else in the kitchen. Like, if you come into the kitchen, it's like her sanctuary. She knows what's what. She knows what's going in at what time. Leave her to it and crack on. So I guess it depends on the cook and who's doing it.
Definitely.
Set budgets for presents. With so many with so many outgoings, money can be tight at Christmas, and financial pressure can be a big source of stress and tension. To ease the pressure on everyone, agree on a budget for presents. I guess that makes sense, because you don't want to give a gift and someone's giving you one twice as much. Maybe that can create tensions a little bit. Like, he thinks he's better than us because he's spending much more money, or he's undersold me. I bought him that and he's not bought me this. That can sometimes cause a bit of tension, can't it, with presents?
We've done like a Secret Santa this year. So there's an app that you can download. I think I can't remember what it's called now. But basically, you'll get entered into a ballot, and you pick out somebody's name, and then you just have to buy them one present. It just means you can go a little bit more outlandish with it. Okay. So everyone gets like quite a big present, but it's almost like from everyone, but one person's in control of what they get. When we were younger, I must have been 20. I think I just started working. It must have been like 19, 20. My mum's like, "Do you want to put in for Christmas spend?" And I didn't know my mum did this, but she's like, "We save like 40 quid a month, and then when Christmas comes around, we just splash out."
Okay, cool.
On gifts and stuff. I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'll do that." And I've sort of carried that on as we go. So when Christmas time comes around, and now that I understand the self-employed life, it's just quite nice to be like, well, I know that pot's there. We can do the Disney on Ice. We can do what we want to do.
It's very organised,
which is nice. Yeah, you just forget about it.
I'm not that organised. I just have a big budget, big bill at the end of December on my credit card.
December.
Yeah. But we have a bit of an unwritten rule in our house. Like, I guess my brother's, there's a certain spend. I try and spend a certain amount on mum and dad, which is a bit more. And then obviously extended family and friends, we just get them little bits. But we try and be I think the big thing with gifts is trying to be thoughtful.
Yeah.
We mentioned before, like we were asking each other before we came on, like, how organised are you this year? What have you got? The issue with leaving it quite late is you panic buy. It's not always what they want. Yeah. And over the last few years, I've tried to be more cognizant of like picking up on little things that people have said they like and need. So that's something that I think goes a long way. If you've listened, if someone's listened to what I've said and they've come back to me with a gift and they've got what I said I really liked, I really respect and appreciate that, because they've been listening. Shows they've been listening to your conversations.
That's fair.
So I think the gift giving thing is set some rules and some boundaries with it.
Absolutely.
Be grateful for your gifts. I guess that's an obvious one.
Decent human being behaviour.
Yeah. Embrace daytime dozing. I mean, I always have a little nap on Christmas Day, especially after Christmas dinner. Always.
Brothers never got Sharpie on your face, throwing your little
Not yet,
mustache?
No. I mean, don't give them any ideas, mate. Not that they listen to this, to be fair. They're enough of my shit. Channel your inner elf. This is interesting. Do something helpful. Offer to do the driving, walk the dog, take the kids around the park, distribute the canapes. By mucking in and lending a hand, you're setting the bar for everyone else and lightening the load for people who care about you. That's a nice little one, isn't it? That's
or
a
as
good
it's
idea.
otherwise known in our house, sucking up to your in-laws.
Yeah. Okay.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. No, good advice, that one. Learn to let things slide. I guess that's great advice for Christmas Day, isn't it?
Yeah.
Pick your battles. Do you really care that much about the parsnips, how the parsnips are prepared, or what's in the box? Grit your teeth, turn a blind eye. Also avoid controversial topics like football, politics, and who's having the last after eight. I bet there's so many arguments about politics on Christmas Day. Because it must be difficult in households, because you've got the younger lot, aren't you? Like, your late teenage years, into university, feel like they can take on the world. Maybe a little bit more liberal in their views, and then you got your dad who's like more maybe a little more right wing in his views, and there's battles going on. You've got your uncle there chipping in as well. I can see why politics would cause a bit of a feud. I don't think football's too bad. I think as long as the and maybe you're not in Sheffield, I don't know what
shit season, mate.
But even then, I think you rarely get like a Sheffield United fan and a Wednesday fan in the same family.
That's true.
Unless your uncles support a different team or whatever, it's one you've got to pick and choose, I guess. It's not like Merseyside's quite good for that. Obviously, you get a lot of families, like one half the family is Everton, one's Liverpool.
Yeah.
There's not as much of a feud there.
It's quite a friendly derby, actually, isn't it?
It is a very friendly derby. Yeah.
If you sit with each other, that's a very friendly derby.
Yeah.
And I've seen a few toffees mixed in with Reds in. I'm like,
the part of you as a football fan goes, it ain't right that.
No.
I don't like that part of it. But it's a bit like America, American fans where they all sit together. Fuck that.
Oh.
No chance. I want it tribal.
Yeah. Just for that one day.
Yeah,
Tribal.
just for one day.
Like, don't look
I'm not
at
saying
me.
go and hit someone over the head with something, but like, let's get, you versus me today, your team versus my team. We need that as blokes.
I think one of the best ways to diffuse a political chat, by the way. I've seen that Nigel Farage meme where it just says, boring. As soon as somebody speaks, you go, boring.
All that one that goes, gay.
It's Mr. Chow from...
Yeah, Mr. Chow.
Yeah.
I don't know what movie that is, but it always comes
I
up.
know what you mean. It always pops up.
But no, I think the most controversial football thing in my family is we're all like, you always support your dad's sports. That's like, it's common knowledge, right?
Yeah.
My dad's a big Liverpool fan. He lives in Liverpool. Now he's Merseyside through and through. My middle brother, United fan.
Just by choice, just got swayed one day.
Just obviously growing up in Manchester, one day his mates swayed him. It's bad, that, isn't it?
I always think that with you, like, with your accent, being a Liverpool fan, you must get some, like, spy over here.
He's ops him. But no, I mean, think about growing up in the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, as a Liverpool fan in a Manx school. It was tough, mate. So, in the WhatsApp groups, I ain't holding back.
You survived.
I mean, I'm holding back a little bit now at the moment. I'm not going to lie, because we're not doing great. But
respect to any Liverpool fan who survived the Fabio Barini. David and Gog saga. I'm just like, Jesus, how did you get through that?
Yeah, Finnan at the back.
I
Yeah,
quite like Steve Finnan.
Did you?
He were like the
worked
Liverpool
hard.
Jamie Carragher.
He's not a Champions League standard though, is he? Let's be honest.
Nah,
no, we've been through some Emil Heskey.
Heskey.
Did you?
I once played against him.
He was
random side
proper
story.
donkey for me.
I once played in a cup final, and their striker were nicknamed Esky.
Okay.
Oh my days! The hardest game of football I've ever played.
Yeah,
This
just
guy
a
was
brute.
massive. I just couldn't get around him. Couldn't beat him in air.
Maybe Akin Fenway should have been a more apt name.
Honestly, like that was just his name in squad, and I'm like, how the fuck am I supposed to play against this dude? You were ridiculous. Just bullied me.
Some guys are like that. I'm worried that we're going to lose a female audience here with football.
Sorry, girls.
Sorry, ladies. Let's go on to the next one. It says, take a breather. If things are getting a bit much, step into the garden for some fresh air or buy a bus stop. Oxygen and
Topical. There we go.
oxygen and sunlight are thought to increase levels of serotonin released in the body, and more serotonin means lighter mood and more relaxed you. So yeah, not a bad idea. Avoid a punch-up over Pictionary. This is interesting. It's fun playing Monopoly or a game of charades, but it's a fine line between competitive spirit and outright aggression. Don't embark on a board game unless you're convinced that everyone will be able to get to the end of it without crying, fighting, or both. I think, again, good advice. Like, if
Solid.
the board games are ones you've got to pick and choose in your family.
I think with kids as well, it's tough. I've said this, Ted's not a great loser. He's also not a great winner. He will rub it in your face if he wins.
I like Ted. I love Ted. Ted's my kind of guy.
Honestly, whereas if he loses, he's not happy. So.
No, I agree. We've had some punch-ups in the past as little kids over Monopoly and stuff. You want to just keep an eye on the banker, is all I'm saying.
Always.
Remember that Christmas is a difficult time for lots of people. Again, good advice. Yeah. Christmas is a time of unrealistic expectations and excessive self-reflection. With any issues in our lives coming starkly into focus, it can be a really hard time of the year for those who have lost a loved one or are experiencing financial hardship or an illness or depression. A study by the Samaritans revealed that amid pressure to be merry, nearly half of men admit they're actually feeling very depressed or sad at Christmas. Really good. Yeah, again, not just men but women as well. Yeah, difficult 100%. Time for people who... Yeah, the financial thing as well is tricky. Not many people want to show face. Not many people want to admit it. There's a lot of lavish spending. You go around someone's house, they put on a massive spread. The presents are excessive, and you're just feeling that little bit shit about yourself. So I totally get that.
This is the most shameless plug I've ever done on the podcast. But when this comes out, I think on the 26th. The day after, on the 27th, I've got a year-end journal coming out. It's just 15 reflective questions to end your year.
Cool.
And I put it together because I thought I'm always looking for stuff to reflect, and I need structure in reflection. So I just thought I'll just put my own together.
Yeah,
so,
I like that. You're very reflective as it
Try.
is. So those kind of posts, you can put back there to the public.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
So that's the 11 things to remember if you want to avoid arguments at Christmas. It's a bit weird because it's actually coming out on Boxing Day. So
it's still in that period. I'll make that
I
case.
agree. Like sometimes you see extended family between Christmas and New Year.
Yeah.
So I guess still relevant.
100%.
Hit me with a dad joke, mate. I want to hear it.
I've got two here, but I thought I'd keep it very festive.
Okay.
What did one snowman say to the other?
It's no joke.
That's very good, Ryan. But it's not what I'm looking for. It's not what I'm looking for. Can you smell carrots?
Nice. That's a typical cracker.
Straight out of the cracker.
It's straight out of the cracker. That one. Yeah. Nice. I wonder if we post some of the Christmas cracker jokes on the Fit Dad story maybe over Christmas time. That'd be quite good.
That's content sorted, isn't it? Just take a picture.
Yeah, exactly.
Or send them us if you see any really... You've seen some really dark ones that people do. Like they make their own and they put like horrendous jokes in and give them to the nan.
Yeah, the darker
Yeah.
the better for me.
Yeah, bring them on.
Slip them in.
Bring them on, why not? Do you want a would you rather?
Yeah, let's set it up then. So you've got some would you rather questions, and these are from people who you put out on your story and in the community. Yeah.
Some very sick, twisted people out there.
Okay. I know what your mates are like, mate.
There's a few that I couldn't read out because they're not very PC, so I'm going to avoid them.
Mate, we're not a PC podcast, mate.
They involve disabilities, so I'm not going to do it.
Okay, mate. Yeah, we don't want to get cancelled. Don't get cancelled.
Right, first one, Ryan. Would you rather piss every time you cough or shit every time you sneeze?
It's got to be piss on it, surely. Piss is easier to clean up and get rid of.
Can you imagine like just about to talk to a client and you're like, oh great.
It'd be tough for you because you cough a lot.
I do cough a lot. And
Clearing your throat.
I feel like it's proportional. Like the amount of piss will be proportional to the cough as well.
Plus, there's only so much piss that can come out, surely, every time you're coughing.
I mean, yeah, that's fair. But then if it's the other one, if it's a sneeze, what happens if you have a sneezing fit? You're screwed, aren't you?
Yeah, my sneezes always come in two. Always.
Do they?
Yeah, whenever I sneeze, it always is in two.
Double sharp for you then.
Yeah, unless I've got a cold and it comes in like 5 or 6.
That's fair. Oh, can you imagine that'd be even worse.
Well, I'm a bit under the weather now, and I've been sneezing loads, and it's a bit like it can't get out. It's just stuck there. But no, it's got to be piss, surely.
You think?
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't sneeze very often, and because the amount that I cough, I'm like, I would rather I'm walking that plank.
Really?
Yeah. Have you?
Imagine feeling a sneeze come in there, and you're like, oh no, I'm going to shit myself. No, hold it in, look down, don't look up.
Do you sneeze louder now that you're a dad?
Do I sneeze louder than my dad? I wasn't aware of it, but maybe, yeah.
I definitely do.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amy noticed it. It's like a cry for help. It's like, remember I'm here.
A cry for help.
Honestly. Right. This one is a bit. Yeah, I quite like this one. Would you rather, Ryan, have a vagina on your forehead, or
There you go.
have penises going up and down your back like a stegosaurus?
Wow, someone's gone some real thought around that, haven't they? It's tricky because, I mean, it's got to be the dicks like a stegosaurus. Do you know what I mean? Because you can cover them up.
It depends.
I mean, they're not going to look great under a t-shirt, are they?
I mean, it depends if they're always like erect or not. You could easily cover them if you were like, yes.
The follow-up question is: do they get aroused, or are they constantly flaccid?
These are the questions. These are the context that we need, right?
I mean, I just want. I mean, there's no hiding the vagina on your head, is there really?
Huh?
Yeah, but
Depends where. If it's on your forehead, you just wear an headband.
Yeah, true. But a headband for the rest of your life.
Where would you eat from?
Oh yeah, I mean, wean out of 8 cocks on your back. Good luck trying to clean that up.
That'd be horrendous. Like scream for a wee and just put your head in the sink.
Jesus. I mean, you wouldn't be. I mean, you'd have options though, wouldn't you? Do you know what I mean? You'd have options.
That's fair, yeah.
But I mean, I assume they're different lengths as well.
That's fair. Yeah, I suppose the Stegosauruses are.
Yeah, of course.
That's fair. Yeah, Stegosaurus spines, yeah.
Taking a girl back. Which one do you want, sweetheart? Take your pick. I mean, you got a choice here, love.
Yeah, I feel like we just discovered the world's worst orgy there.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Final answer, Ryan. What's it going to be?
I'm going to go Dix as a Stegosaurus.
It's
Yeah.
a bit of a tell, though, isn't it? It's like, it's not hiding that, is there?
I'm just thinking about those, multiple choices.
I'd go opposite. I'd
Would
just
you?
wear a headband all the time. Like,
just get a hat on.
what's in from Harry Potter? In with Turban. What do they call him?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Is he
called
Professor
now?
Cyril, is it?
But what's...
Yes, Voldemort on his back
That's
of his head.
right, yeah. He wears like a turban.
Yeah. I'd rock that.
Would you?
Yeah. I would.
I'm just sorry, guys. I've gone Sikh now. I'm a Sikh.
That's it. No one an island.
Yeah,
That's it.
An eyelid. There's some rude pun in there somewhere.
There is something to do with lids, isn't there? But, would you rather have fingers as long as your arms or arms as long as your fingers? Shout out to Gav Walker for this one.
Fingers as long as your arms or arms as long as your fingers? That's a really difficult one.
Yeah.
Really difficult. My immediate thought was, how am I going to train? That was my first thought there.
Imagine how much you could deadlift.
Oh yeah, true.
Your arms, fingers as long as your arms.
Yeah.
You'd have like superhuman grip.
but your arms would be like dragging along the floor. Your fingers would be literally dragging along the floor.
You wouldn't have to use your feet.
But you couldn't actually grip it because the bar's too small. Do you know what I mean? I mean, are the fingers long or are they big and chunky as well? Like, what's going on there?
I'd demand, like the big logs we've got at station. That's what I'd use for just bench pressing.
I'm just imagining someone walking around with those like hands, like the kind of ones you get at like the ice hockey, like the big finger.
I imagine that's what it'd be like.
Yeah. What am I going to choose? I wouldn't want little diddy arms though. You know what I mean? Little finger arms coming off.
Yeah,
I've got to go with the long ones.
Yeah. Same.
Fingers as long as arms.
Same. And then as the last, would you rather? I'll give him a shout out. Actually, this is Alex. If you're listening to this, don't, because you're 11 years old. All right, we've said some horrific stuff so far. This is from my client Sarah's little boy Alex, who's 11. Would you rather wake up in a different bed every time you went to sleep, or get frozen in time for 30 minutes every time you yawn? So imagine you yawn, frozen in time, or you go to sleep and just wake up in a random bed. Which arguably is some people's uni experience.
I can confirm. But that's weird, isn't it? I mean, the logistics of waking up in a different bed somewhere else every time you woke up will be a nightmare. But losing 30 minutes every time you yawn is very inconvenient as well, because I mean, on a bad day, I'm not, my sleep's never great, so I'm yawning all day. But that's a tough one. I'd probably have to go, just from a logistical point of view, I'd probably have to go yawning, freezing time.
Would you?
Yeah.
I'm complete opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather.
But where's this bed? Is it global? Is it national? Is it in your own city?
I'd rather have that difficult chat with Amy. Be like,
oh shit! I
don't know where I'm going to wake up, but I'll start here.
Fucking, I'm in Kazakhstan. I'll end up here.
Yeah, that's a nice way of seeing the world, I suppose.
Free travel.
Yeah. Right. Determined. Yeah, that's confirmed.
To be fair, you could just quit your job and start a travel YouTube.
Whereas yawning, imagine everyone else's time carries on. So imagine pranks that get pulled on you if you just get frozen in time. There we go.
I'm yawning now, like fucking hell.
So for 30 minutes, I'd draw on your face, mate. I'm sorry.
Would you?
Yeah, I absolutely would. That'd be so annoying.
If you were your mates, you just imagine that on a night out. You've woken up, you've got your pants around your ankles, you've been taken down the road.
Yeah, just picked up like a statue. Put somewhere else.
Yeah, you've gone out, they put you on the stage, pants down.
Yeah,
brilliant. You're all over social media.
I think, Ryan, does
that conclude your
would you rather? My would you rather section. So yeah, please let us know your thoughts with that, listener, because I've got one. So it's not really a would you rather, but it's a nice little trivia for us, Ryan.
Okay, cool.
How long is the world's longest fart?
How long is the world's longest fart? I feel like I know this. I've heard this before.
Recently just been broken.
Is it like 1 minute 45 seconds, something like that? No.
I've gone too far. Think about how long that is, Ryan. That is.
Is it?
That's a long time.
Yeah, true. 45 seconds.
40 seconds.
40 seconds.
Have you seen the video?
No,
It is wild.
Is it?
It's mad. There's a proper technique that he's using.
Is there? Like holding it in and letting it out a little bit kind of thing?
Like a balloon.
Is it? Oh, God. Oh, is he actually holding his cheeks?
At one point, you can see him like cock his leg up, but that's how I envisioned it in my head.
Wow,
like when you let air
there's
out
actually a video of this as well.
Yeah, mate, official Guinness World Record.
Is it really?
I want to know his prep. What did he do?
I want to know the aftermath.
Yeah, but... Yeah,
40 seconds, that's some going, that, isn't it?
It's impressive.
I mean, that again is a long time. It is a long time, 40 seconds to be farting.
There we go, mate.
Have you had those kind of farts where you're walking, and every time you take a step, you have a little fart. Everyone knows what's like you're walking.
You play floorboards.
Yeah, it's almost like with it, kind of as you're moving and walking, it's almost like coming out.
It's loosening
They're
up.
my favourite kind of farts. Then,
It's just
and they always happen when
musical.
I'm walking. Yeah, they always happen when I'm walking the dog, and I have to like have a little look around, make sure no one's there. And I'm
But there we go. So get training, Ryan. Get training. Eat your sprouts.
Oh, I'm good, mate. I mean, my digestive system can be bad at times, so I'm not going down that route.
Should we try and give people some value?
Yeah, why not? I feel like these are well too serious now based on those questions.
No, mate, go for it. If I can lower the tone still, I will.
Please do. Yeah, we want it to be light-hearted, but there's also some questions that my community want to know, and I just said, look, is there anything in the fitness, health world right now that stands out to you that needs answering? And first one was quite good, I thought. It was general perception on peptides in the industry. It seems to be blowing up on socials. Are they worth jumping on? What's your thoughts on peptides?
From what I know about peptides, admittedly, I'm probably not as in the know as you are, because I know we spoke about it in the past, but they seem unregulated at the moment.
Yeah.
Because am I right in thinking that most peptides aren't part of human trials?
Yes.
Are they animal trials?
Yeah. Well, let's not be on the bush. I mean, I have taken BPC 157, but by admitting I'm doing that, I'm admitting that I've broken the law because it's not for human consumption.
Do you want me to make a note of that so I can censor it out?
There might be some bleeping going on there. Yeah, maybe.
Let's put some bleeping in there.
Yeah, put some. Yeah, we'll bleep out the BPC 157, which we'll have to now bleep out again. Anyway, so I've taken that stuff, right? So it's not technically legal to take, but it's in that grey area that sits kind of between supplements and drugs, doesn't it? Peptides, they're not like hardcore steroids, and they're not like a legal supplement you can take. They're a bit of a grey area in between. To be honest, we could do a whole podcast on this, and maybe we do at some point, but to give you a really short answer to that question, I generally think they're not worth taking, if I'm being honest with you. In some areas of recovery, they're showing some really positive signs, but we're not 100% sure of the long-term effects. The risk versus reward, for me, just isn't worth it unless you're maybe under like a doctor's supervision. But again, it'd have to be a doctor that's a little bit, not as legit and not playing it by the rules, maybe a friend or something like that.
Yeah.
Every peptide that's marketed for fat loss, muscle growth, hormone optimization, all the research is weak at best, to be honest. I think they're popular because they sound scientific. They do sit in that area, like I said, between supplements and drugs. They promise results where progress can sometimes be a bit slow. I mean, that's literally why I jumped on them, because my knee issue was bad. I had patella tendonitis, and it was just a really long process. And I thought, if there's something I can take just to speed this healing process up, I'm up for it. And I think people like something that's new and exciting, right? Everything that's like new and shiny, we want to jump on this thing. It's something that's been discovered, great peptide. They call it the Wolverine peptide, don't they? BPC 157. So I've got first-hand experience with this, but I do think that my progress when I took it was negligible. Yeah, I do. I did find out after taking it that actually, if you want peptides to be effective, the healing peptide to be effective, you have to actually inject it into the tendon sheath.
Oh shit.
So injecting tendons isn't like injecting muscles. With a muscle, you can inject it straight into the muscle and it gets into that area very easily. With a tendon, you can't inject that kind of peptide straight into the tendon because there's a danger of rupturing the tendon, and it's also horrendously painful. You also don't want to inject it just above, because it's again just into the subcute fat. If you want to really get that tendon in the right spot, you have to inject it into the sheath, which, as you can imagine, is a very, very minute space to get that injection into. So what you have to do is you have to do it via ultrasound. So they ultrasound your knee and they guide the injection that way, obviously, which I was not doing. So that's probably why it didn't work for me. I've heard anecdotally that it is great for muscles, but again, it is all just anecdotes at the moment. There's no solid research on humans to suggest that any peptide is effective. We need to wait for those studies and other human studies on all peptides before we really pass judgment. But for now, they're not beating a good night's sleep. They're not beating quality nutrition. They're not beating consistent and solid training. And they're not beating other forms of recovery and physiotherapy. So I think we all want that magic blue pill. We've mentioned that before. We're all looking for something we can easily inject into us, take a pill, have us feeling better in an instant. But the research, especially on humans for peptides, just isn't there. So that was the long answer. Short answer, I don't think it's worth it.
I think it's the future. I really do. I feel like we're going to figure it out when we've got some longer, more research trials being done.
Yep.
I feel like that's what happened with creatine. Like, we all knew that it were an unbelievable supplement, and now that more trials and more studies have been done, it's proven to be like better than we ever thought possible.
Yeah.
And I can't help but feel like peptides are going to be the same, but I've seen it used in like skincare. That's the most common use. I don't know if you've seen these peptides.
Yep.
Like, yeah.
Absolutely. You can get
collagen.
Creams, things like collagen peptides for hair and skin and stuff like that, yeah.
The downside about like BPC 157, for example, is, and I've just made a note here, like peptides work as tiny messengers, which is essentially just like you get sent a really loud signal to your body, for example, to turn over cells really quickly. So the downside with that is if it promotes like acceleration of tissue turnover. Imagine, and this is a really dark turn I'm going to take, but imagine that someone's got cancer that they don't know about, and their body is turning over cells at a rapid rate. That realistically could accelerate that cancer. We don't know much about it, and I just think these are the little questions we need answering.
Yeah, it's a really good point. Yeah, and that is one of the big risks with peptides at the moment, because they accelerate things. They could accelerate things like cancer, and there's cancerous risks with this stuff. So the risk versus reward has to be taken into account with peptides. I think at the moment they're not there, but I totally agree that it's an exciting new area of recovery, healing, muscle growth, fat loss potentially that is showing promising signs, but it's just not there in terms of the research. The BPC 157 was actually found in the gut. So there was something in the gut that was found to be like the fastest regenerative area in our body is in the gut. And they took this, they isolated it, and they put it into this Wolverine peptide, they call. So there's signs of it working on certain things, and there's anecdotal evidence for that. But the research and the human studies aren't there yet. So, but these things are underway. There's no way, companies and governments aren't going to explore this. So it'll be exciting for the future. But for now, short answer, I wouldn't say so.
It'll happen.
Next one. This is a really good question, actually. Should women opt for supplements specifically for females, or stick to regular supplement brands?
Ooh, this is a question of marketing.
What's your thoughts on this?
From speaking to the majority of my clients who are females about what supplements they're drawn to, I always like to ask this, like, what do you take? What are you drawn to? And it seems to be that as soon as social media figures out that you are a woman above 40, you will get hammered with supplements advertising.
Absolutely.
You need this marine collagen.
Absolutely.
And it's just like, I'm like, yeah, but what do you need? Like, it's all right being drawn in by the marketing, and I think the only way that you really can figure out what you need is to, unfortunately, do your own research. Maybe get some. This is the most American thing I've ever said. Get some blood work done. Yeah, and just figure it out.
You're absolutely right. Yeah. Blood work will give you exactly what you need. Again, short answer for me is no. Stick to whatever's best for you, whether that's female-orientated supplements or not. The difference in women's only supplements compared to what's marketed to everyone else is actually little to none. The biggest difference is probably the premium you'll pay, if I'm being honest with you. And marketing companies know this, especially when it comes to health-conscious women, because women generally tend to get more health-conscious. Once they probably pass like post-30, most women get to a point where they're understanding that hormones are changing. Women at 30 years old are nowhere near perimenopause or menopause, but they know that timer is starting to tick down now from a fertility point of view, from a hormone point of view. If I'm being honest, the only extras women really need in their daily supplement routine is iron due to menstruation, calcium and vitamin D for bone health during stuff like menopause, perimenopause, and maybe potentially folic acid if they wanted to get pregnant. Apart from those three things, which obviously these female-only supplements will put in there, there's nothing else you need. And the female-only supplements, the amount of those things that are in there is, again, it's negligible. They'll put minute fractions in there that probably won't make massive amounts of difference, but they'll give you a massive premium on it. To be honest, if you really are concerned about your iron levels, calcium, vitamin D, you want to be taking some maybe folic acid, I would buy those things separately. I would number one make sure, like you said, from a blood test that those things are low, but I would definitely buy those things individually. Don't go to the women's only supplements, because again, you're paying more for a watered down product that's at a premium price.
And let's not beat around the bush. Like, a supplement is by name it's supplementary. So if you can make sure that you are doing everything that you can do nutritionally speaking, because that's where you're going to get majority of your micronutrition. There's a word for phytonutrients, I think they're called, which is essentially what you get from fruits and veg. And there's a lot of stuff in there that essentially your body will absorb what it needs and then get rid of it. So if someone maybe isn't sure how to get a blood test, I'm pretty sure you can get it done at the doctor's, for example, and just be really like, I want to look for this, I want to look for this. If they're not being too accommodating or you're not too confident, you can go more private with it. So to share a bit of a personal story, myself and Amy, we did some blood tests recently from a company called Thriva, who, no affiliation by the way, but we found that really useful because you could customize what you're looking for. So for some people you can check like for energy levels, and one thing I said to Amy is let's get that panel, and then when the time comes and you start to feel maybe your hormones changing, or you get to a certain age and perimenopause sets in, at least you've got a bit of data there. So if there's anyone listening who's maybe a woman in the late 20s, early 30s, maybe get a panel done. So you got, I feel really good. Let me see where my levels are at right now. And then when the time comes and you maybe look at some HRT, you've got something to go off and be like, well, when I was in my early 30s, I felt great. This is what my panel looked like.
Yep.
Because you hear a lot of perimenopausal women get on HRT and they have to keep adjusting it because there's infinite possibilities of how you can customize it, and it all depends on how you feel.
Yeah.
And I'm not coming from an expert perspective with that. That's just anecdotal. I'm pretty sure there's women who can speak about that.
Yeah, for sure. It's great advice, I think. And you'll know in yourself if something doesn't feel quite right, and if it doesn't, the worst thing you want to do is just jump on some of these female-only supplements, not really knowing what you're taking, what the amounts are. It's very broad. It's a bit like taking one woman and giving that woman a very specific ingredients of like iron, folic acid, calcium, vitamin D, and some other bits in there, and then saying, right, that's best for every woman, and we're going to sell that to the mass markets. Everyone's so unique in what they need. Yep. You might not need the calcium. They might be fine. You might not need the vitamin D. Might be the folic acid and the I forgot the one now, iron that you need, for example. So it's a unique cocktail of things that you need. So to buy these women's only products, and it's the same thing with like whey protein. You get whey protein that's marketed at women. What's the difference between whey protein for women and whey protein for men? I can tell you now, zero, nothing, unless they're putting some of these other vitamins and minerals in there, but again, in negligible amounts. Just buy a decent, good tasting, good, reputable source of whey protein from a good company.
And if you see marketing materials that start with what women need or what women want, just run a mile. Because we know, mate, every woman's individual, every man's individual. Yeah. So if you're trying to tar everyone with the same brush, it's...
Yeah, and they'll get you on these subscriptions, they'll get you on lots of things. Before you know it, you'll be spending 100, 150 quid a month just on like these supplements that you think are going to be better for you because you're a female.
Yeah.
Get some good solid advice. Go and speak to people in the know about it. That's you'll use that money that you would spend over 2-3 months and put that into something that's going to give you some good solid answers for you as an individual.
I sometimes forget that we are serious health professionals.
Yeah. You wouldn't know at the start of this. If you tuned in at the start of this podcast, you would not have an idea.
These timestamps are wild, by the way.
Yeah. Good luck to the people on YouTube when you go through those. Question number 3. In pursuit of increasing protein intake, how much processed food should you be willing to include?
Ooh.
I thought this was a really good question.
I agree.
Because protein at the moment comes in so many different varieties and synthetic, artificial versions. Yep. And a lot of people are on this mission of increasing the protein intake. And we spoke about like Aldi's great for this, right? So you've got like protein yogurts, protein pancakes, protein nuts, all these things that may be a little bit more processed than normal stuff. But you want this protein intake to increase. How much of this processed stuff should you be allowing in? Even whey protein to a certain degree is processed, right? What's your thoughts on this?
There's an ideal, which is we get all of our protein sources from whole foods, single ingredient foods, natural sources, but we live busy lives. And I think the most important thing is to get enough protein. I've wrote down here more often than not. And would
you prioritise protein, getting that protein count in over the processed nature of it?
Initially, yeah. And then when you're into that habit and you sort of know what it feels like, and maybe your circumstances change, I would always personally prioritise whole natural. But if you are driving for 4 hours a day
Yeah.
and you get really hungry and you start reaching for sweets and stuff, that grenade bar all of a sudden becomes a much better alternative, depending on your goals and that sort of stuff. So there is some rules out there, which is like a 90-10 split or an 80-20, where it comes from, 90% of the time, can you eat whole single ingredient foods? 10% of the time, can you introduce some of these, UPFs, these ultra processed foods, just to help you along? Because modern living, ultra processed foods are great for convenience, but when it comes to longevity, if that is flipped, for example, which I've definitely heard people do, where they get 80% of the protein from processed things, there's probably some simple swaps you can do there. So there's an ideal and then there's a real world. Yeah. And I think we have to walk that line very carefully.
You've basically written down, just said exactly what I've written down, essentially, which I'm so happy we're on the same wavelength for that. Because I put initially, I wouldn't worry about increasing your processed volume of food if it means you're hitting your protein count initially. Yep. Because it's going to keep you more satiated, because you're getting more protein in there, only to a certain degree, not as much as normal whole sources of protein. Yep. And it's going to get your goals moving a little bit further forwards as well. But for me, an ideal word, like I said, as long as there's some staple whole sources on a daily basis, things like eggs, meats, fishes, I've got no issue with someone having supplementation of protein. I think it's great. I think, if you can keep it around that 20% mark, there might be occasional days, right, and I have this, where you're out travelling, work's nuts, family's nuts, you haven't had a chance to make anything for the week, and all you've got in the cupboard is some whey protein, some protein bars, some protein yogurts, and let's say you're hitting 100 grams of protein for that day. If that 100 grams comes solely on that day from artificial sources, don't beat yourself up. No. But if you're seeing this pattern emerge where every day 50, 60, 70% of my protein is coming from like yogurts and bars and whey protein, and there's not actually as much whole sources in there as I would like, that again, it'll keep you satiated to a certain degree, but then it'll start to have the opposite effect after a while, where it won't actually make you feel that full, the artificial sources of protein, and it won't make you build as much muscle as whole sources. It isn't used. Similar thing when you have to talk about sugars, right? You've got sugar from Haribo and you've got sugar from bananas, and these things are very different. They're not in the same category. Artificial protein from whole sources, it does a job over a short period of time, but on the long term, you just won't get the same reason why vegans and vegetarians struggle to build massive amounts of muscle and build solid levels of performance over a long period of time. Great over the short term, not over the long term.
And from an amino acid perspective as well, so when you consume protein, it is broken down into these essential amino acids, as we know. Our body responds really well to quite a diverse grouping of that. So rather than just eating solely eggs for your protein or solely steak, which anyone who's on something like a carnivore diet, they'll still probably mix up the protein sources, but then we run the risk of fiber shortage and that sort of stuff. So the more that you can diversify and mix things up, and just base your meals around protein as well. Notoriously, people really struggle with breakfast, for example. But if you're doing some overnight oats and you've got 150 ml of milk in there, you've got some oats, immediately that's probably about 15 grams of protein, and then you put some protein powder on top of it, you're looking at 35-40 grams there. Some overnight oats.
I agree. I think the morning is the one area where people underplay the value of protein, because if let's say you've not eaten since the meal before, let's say you've eaten at 6-7 o'clock the evening before, that was when your last protein was. You miss it at breakfast, and now you're not getting it till 12 p.m, 1 p.m. the next day. That's a massive amount of time that your body's not actually being given protein to build, heal, recover. So the protein in the morning for me is one of the first things that we really try and instill. And not everyone wants to eat steak in the morning. Not everyone wants to eat chicken breast. Funny story, I actually did do that once for
chicken breast
steak.
Oh, fair. Right.
18 months I had steak every morning. Nice rump. Oh mate, it was steak and eggs. It's when I started getting into Charles Poliquin. I told you about him last week, didn't I? And he was big on that steak and eggs, steak and nuts in the morning, so I jumped on that. Did build a lot of solid muscle, by the way. Good source of protein in the morning, but it's not the norm, is it? So whey protein in the morning in a shake, a protein yogurt. I've got clients who love that in the morning. It's a nice little hit. Again, I don't mind that, as long as at lunchtime you're getting some natural sources. Evening meal, same thing. Maybe a little protein snack in between.
Me and my father-in-law Ian actually spoke about, you mentioned the word there, satiating, and we spoke about there's a clip on YouTube where somebody gives one of these hunter-gatherer tribes a cheesecake, and they absolutely lose their shit. Like, because you don't find that texture, you don't find that taste in nature, basically.
I can imagine it's like giving a kid like a massive bag of sweets, and just let it watching that unfold.
100%, but that like sensory experience of like what it tastes like, what it feels like. And then my father-in-law told me about another story, which is when you try and give people the ingredients of a cheesecake and say, can you eat that? They can't eat it. But if you put it together and combine it all, it goes down really well. So
there's a lot of things like that, isn't there? I always think about the ingredients of a cake, like flour, butter, sugar. Not great when you eat them individually. Put them together, bake them. Whoa.
100%.
Who sussed that out, by the way? Fair play.
Know. I mean, special mention for the guy who figured out you could drink cow's milk as well. That's a tough conversation.
Yeah, love. I'm telling you, it's difficult to admit this, but I've been milking that cow and I've been drinking it, and it tastes banging.
And look at how jacked I am.
And also, I've been eating, you know, that weird thing that pops out the back of our chickens. I've been eating that as well, and I've fried it up a little bit. It tastes awesome. Isn't that? I don't care what it is. I'm telling you, it tastes awesome.
I think society needs people like this.
The Mavericks.
Is it going to kill him? Is he all right? It's like the first people who eat poison berries thousands of millions of years ago.
Yeah.
I can imagine everyone just mentally being like, don't eat that. It killed him.
It's like rats, isn't it? You know, rats are very intelligent. If a rat dies from a poison that's been laid, all of the rats won't go near that poison, and they'll work out where that poison is. Fascinating. Next one. And this is coming from a lad who's in the depths of his cut at the moment. So he's been dieting for the past probably 4 or 5 months, very slowly, very incrementally. He's wanting to kind of push it a little bit further. We always jump off the wagon when they feel like they want to get to where they want to get to, but he's one of these guys who wants to take it all the way. So he's done awesome with this. But he had this question around the importance of hydration during a cut. And it got me thinking. I thought, it's really no different to hydration at any point, at any stage in your life, whether you're trying to gain muscle, gain body fat, reduce muscle, reduce body fat. Water is essential. It is to every function, helps fat loss, aids muscle growth. Yep. If you reduce your water intake or lose it for a week or so, you may feel some adverse side effects. You may lose progress. It's no different really on a cut than it is anywhere else.
I think it keeps your mouth pretty busy as well. Which, if you imagine you're in a cut, you might be used to consuming like a progressive amount of food throughout the day, like in steady increments. Whereas if you've dropped a meal or you've changed up the amount of food that you consume, sometimes just drinking, and it sort of goes hand in hand with the steps as well. So I think we mentioned this on the Redefine Girls episode about when you drink a lot of water, you're constantly making trips to the toilet. Constantly. So if you are someone who maybe struggles to get the steps in, or maybe you want that nice balance of calorie deficit, increased output in terms of movement, it goes hand in hand. So that's something I think we should definitely mention, and for people to, be aware that you can keep your mouth busy where you usually be eating in terms of drinking, that sort of stuff, and the extra steps as well.
And it can also make you feel more full. I'd say that's probably the biggest benefit of staying hydrated during a cut. I know when I've been at like sub 10% body fat before, I would just drink more water because it was filling. I just want to fill myself up. I know my next meal's not for another couple of hours, but I'm still hungry. Let's just start battering the water. You do take more trips to the toilet. It's just part of it. But yeah, as well, when you're depleted on food, hydration is probably, maybe you could argue, it's slightly more key because it helps things move around, helps get nutrients to cells more.
And let's not forget that you do still get water from certain foods, right? So I think if you're eating less food, yes, you should still have a decent amount of voluminous food. We've talked about the high satiety diet on here before, which is just you eat a massive volume of food. Like if you imagine you're going to eat a massive bowl of broccoli, compared to that cheesecake that we spoke about. That cheesecake's gone like that, but that broccoli, it's substantially less calories, but the volume is so much more. So it just gets you thinking, and there's so much more volume, fibre in there. So maybe looking at other ways as well for keeping yourself feeling full.
Yeah, agreed. Good answer. The next one was an interesting question that I guess it could be taken in a few ways, but it just basically said volume versus intensity. And I know obviously who asked this, and I think I know what he was getting at. And I think it's talking about like your training essentially, probably more so from like I say, call it from a cardiovascular output. Do you do more intense sessions, shorter, sharper ones, less frequently, or do you do longer, more voluminous sessions? I think it works quite well from a running capacity. This. Yep. So for runners, do you do sprints, hill sprints, 1K sprints, track work, or do you do more volume?
Have you ever heard of the cardio pyramid?
Have we spoke about that on here before?
Maybe.
Refresh my memory.
So if you imagine the bottom base layer is the steady state, the aerobic endurance, like your longer runs, can you keep moving for an hour, for example. The next tier up in that pyramid is more like your anaerobic threshold a little bit, where it's like a CrossFit workout. It's you're working quite hard. You're not working max effort, but you're not working steady state. This is like the in-between section where you've sort of got to keep going. I'm thinking like CrossFit workout of the day sort of stuff. And then the peak of that pyramid is like max effort outputs, like air bike sprints, Tabata style stuff. So you've got this pyramid. If all you do is the top one, Tabata sprints, that sort of stuff, or quite intense CrossFit style stuff, and you never do any steady state, you're then capped on how broad that cardio base can go. So sometimes you do need to focus on the volume, or other people will look at intensity. We've both trained runners before. How many runners do we train who've got a phenomenally broad cardio base where they can run for hours? And then as soon as you put a little bit of intensity to them, it's a bit of a shock to the system. It's the same system, roughly, like genuinely speaking, but it's a change for them. It's like they're trying to develop a different side to the cardio system.
Have I told you about that ultra marathon runner that I trained, where she used to run like 70 odd miles, and she was trying to get up to 100 essentially to do these 100-mile ultras, and she was amazing at just, again, volume. She could just run forever essentially. And we put in a bit of a conditioning circuit, and it was probably as basic as it comes really. It was just a few press ups, a few pull ups, some squats, just some other kind of things in a bit of a circuit. She was sick. Felt sick, had to go outside, vomited, and I really wasn't expecting it. Because I thought, this is a fit lady. She's running like 70 odd miles. She's doing like 100k weeks, right? How does that person fall apart at a conditioning circuit? It's because they're just not used to that intensity. They're just not. And you can get yourself sometimes very pigeonholed in being very good at one thing. I think if you want to actually get good at that thing even more, sometimes you have to tap into different areas of your cardiovascular system, and intensity in there can do that. So my advice generally when it comes to volume versus intensity is you need both. There's no doubt about that. But I would suggest doing it in what we call training blocks. So you have a training block where, you've got some volume stuff in there. Let's say, for example, you want to keep your kind of long distance up, so you might once a week, maybe twice a week, do a 10k, 15k, 20k, wherever your baseline is. But then 3 of those sessions in the week, the majority, are some intensity. And you do that for 6 weeks. Then you flip it. That hard intensity session goes down to 1. And the other 4 sessions in the week are then longer runs. And again, you can vary in different distances. You can do that with, we do that with weights sometimes as well in the gym. Sometimes we have moments where we do like really, really voluminous, high intensity hypertrophy sessions for 6 weeks, 9 weeks, maybe 12 weeks at a push. And then we flip it and we go, right, we have a training block where we do strength. So you kind of need both, and it comes in phases. Those training blocks are really essential for me, and it's something that not enough people know how to program in, feel confident enough programming in. It's why working with a coach, I think, is sometimes good if they've got experience with that. But it is essential to keeping everything improving at the same time. How many times, even the people listening to this, have you got really good at the weights, but your fitness is plummeted? It's because you just stop doing fitness stuff. You don't stop doing it, you just reduce it down. You run in once, twice a week as opposed to 5 times a week, and you put some time into your weights. And then you flip that. And that's what you do. You just keep flipping, prioritising one thing, and then everything stays put, but one thing's always improving. Everything else stays put, one thing's improving.
I feel like that's going to shock a few people, that cardio isn't just one thing. Like, there is literally, and just to talk about what you said about doing things in certain blocks, I regularly use you as an example when I talk to my clients about this, because I'm like, Ryan's obviously looks fantastic, moves fantastic, and can perform fantastic as well. But
you talk about me?
Yeah, right, I'm just saying. But he's not done that just from doing running. He's not done that just from doing bodybuilding. He's not done that just from powerlifting. It's a combination of all 3, 4, 5, whatever modalities you use over time and in certain blocks. And a lot of people want that right now.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't work that way. Yeah. Whereas what you can do is the best thing to train in that regard is probably what you're not doing. That's either like the complete opposite. So if you're just doing, like you said, you're ultramarathon runner, the best thing you could probably do is, let's get you on some circuits. Let's get you on some max effort air bike sprints, ease you into it. But
yeah. At the start of someone's journey as well, or if you're kind of midway through, or you've been training for a few years, and I've got a guy at the moment actually who, he came into the consultation, he said, like, I just want to look and perform like you, which was an amazing compliment. Like, best someone can give you, right? That you've been inspiring people to do what you want to do.
That's why you're my lock screen, mate.
That's getting really weird now, mate. But he basically came in and said, like, that's my goal. And I said, right, well, you need to build muscle. He was quite a strong lad, to be fair, but the physique wasn't there in terms of shape, and I know you want to look better. You want to maybe explore the idea of doing like the hierarchies and the performance side of stuff. But I said to him, what do you really want right now? Like, if you could do anything, what do you want? And I could tell he wanted to look better. That was his priority. I want to look jacked. Yeah. Okay. We're going to include some cardio in there, some steady state, maybe a little bit of running. But we're going to go nowhere near the conditioning. We're going to go nowhere near that, because if we put too much into that, we're taking eggs out the basket of you looking well and pushing the muscle mass and having a really well-shaped physique. So all our focus now for the last year or so has all been on building his physique. And we're probably going to be there for another probably 6 months to a year, if I'm being honest with you. And then he said maybe project 2027 is once I've got in the kind of a shape I'm really happy with, I then look at how I'm going to maintain that in my week and then start factoring in some performance work. It's very difficult for me to say to him when he first came to me and said, I want to be like you. Well, I've trained bodybuilding for like 20 years. I did bodybuilding style training. I didn't compete or anything like that. There was no intention of putting any trunks on, but I did the bodybuilding style training for 20 years to try and get my physique to where I needed to be. It just meant that when I went and did the performance stuff, I knew how to maintain that. I knew what I had to do in my week. And that's significant because I think a lot of people want to be really good at high rocks. They want to be a great runner, but they also have this aspiration of looking a bit like a bodybuilder and having loads of muscle and maintaining that. Well, sometimes, unfortunately, you're just putting too much into the running and you're not actually putting enough into building your physique. And it's hard to hear that. Yeah. But you've got to make your priorities. You can't do everything at the same time. You can do a little bit of the running just to kind of keep yourself in shape, fit, body fat levels under check. But if that goes too much and the scales tip, you're actually taking a lot away from building muscle. So you kind of have to have one toe dipped in one area to maintain and all your other toes in another area to actually progress. And it's how you manage that.
I saw an amazing post the other day from a hybrid athlete who were talking about exactly that. People say, I want to look and perform like you. And he went through like, here's how most hybrid athletes, here's their journey, here's what they do. And they start off in the gym doing bodybuilding style stuff, and then they go through this little tipping point of an arc where they say, I hate just training for the way that I look. There's got to be more to this. What am I now capable of? Because I've got the muscle mass. Can I now show how strong I am? Because I've got this muscle mass, but again, I keep quoting Bronte Jones when she said sugar muscles. I'm like, that's fair. So you see somebody who then gets strong, and then they go, oh, actually, I wonder what I can do fitness-wise. So they've gone through this period of like 3 completely different types of training. Where they look great, build the muscle, utilize that muscle in strength, and then use that strength and how they look into cardio. And it's just that cycle. And a lot of people want to start on that 3rd hybrid cycle and miss out all the other 2. And that is just so common. You see all these people you really, really admire and look up to, and you're like, you've not been through what they've been through.
I couldn't agree anymore with that, and it's so indicative of my journey, like starting with the bodybuilding stuff, getting obsessed with LL Cool J when I was like 12, 13 years old. I want to look like him, I'll do whatever it takes to look as good as him, but that's all I was bothered about, looks. Then once you've started getting in the gym and you're lifting weights, you realise that it's quite cool to be strong. Like bloke over there deadlifting 150 kilos, I'd quite like to do that. He's benching 100 kilos, I'd quite like to do that. You get to that point and you go, brilliant, I love strength now, how strong can we get? All in on strength. And then it gets to a point where you're like, I've kind of just done the same stuff. I've done bench press, deadlifts, bodybuilding. I've been in this gym, in this environment for so long. I'm kind of looking for something new. And that's when you venture outside the gym and you go, what more is there to do? That cycling's pretty cool. I wouldn't mind doing like a 50k bike ride. Can I do that? My legs got that in me. I wouldn't mind doing a bit of running. And then you go on this journey of like, I want to do that. And I've tipped the scales in many ways where I've just sometimes focused a bit too much on the cardio, lost a bit of size. I feel like I've done that maybe more recently, actually. I've definitely lost a little bit of strength recently, so I now need to kind of incorporate that stuff back into my routine. It's very difficult, it gets very tricky, and you're spinning a lot of plates, but there is a way of doing it all. You've just got to program it right in your week. And again, I think this is a really good time. Obviously, it's coming out on Boxing Day. If you've got time in between Christmas and New Year, I think one of the best things you can do for 2026 is map out your year. Number one, put in your goals of what you want to do. If you're looking to build muscle, have some checkpoints of like, this is where I want my muscle mass, this is what my shoulders to be, this is how I want them to look, what have I got to do to get there? If it's a strength goal, this is what I want to bench, deadlift, squat, etc. If it's more performance based, running, fitness races, what races have you got booked in? Go through your year, map it out month by month, quarter by quarter, and then even then go through your training blocks. And the more detail you go into, the more progress and on it you're going to be throughout the year, rather than just guessing and getting to March and being like, yeah, I've done a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and I've not really committed to anything specifically. Those training blocks, mapping out your year, what will get you in a year's time. If you want to look back in a year's time, like Boxing Day in 1 year, and be like, wow, I achieved a lot there, I really pushed things on. Set that year out now.
Thompson Training's year-end journal will do that as well.
Will it really?
So, yeah, as you were speaking, then I'm like, I completely downplayed what this is. Yeah, there's a little section in there about like SWOT analysis. If you've done one of those before, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats.
Okay.
So you sort of go through that process of, right, what do I want my year to look like? What do I want my months to look like? What do I want my weeks to look like? And then how do I want my day to look? And just sort of
love that.
Filter it down.
Yeah.
So again, another shameless plug. Not like me. Yeah.
Check out Brad's Instagram.
Check it out.
It's all going on. That was really, I guess, the main bulk of the questions. Was there anything else that your audience had?
Yeah, so I got a couple of questions from Instagram. The first one was, love to hear your views on fitness video games, things like the Wii Fit. Is it gimmicky or is there actually any value to that? Okay. So I love a Wii Fit. I don't know about you.
No, I'm the same. I think the Wii Fit's really good. I think that generally they're a bit, I don't know, like, it depends what fitness level you're at. I guess for beginners, to get people into fit and to gamify it is really cool. I really like that. Walter's coming to the room and he's causing chaos as usual.
Go on, Walter.
But I do think that it's sociable, it gamifies things. I'll be honest, it's not really up my street personally, but it's a great way of getting the family up and moving. Who knows, you might inspire someone to get into a fitness journey just from getting on a Wii. Are they even still about Wii Fits?
My mum's house, yeah.
Are they really?
Yeah, mum loves it. She brought out a GameCube, not like the fitness game, but do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Brought out a GameCube and we're playing Mario Kart, and it's nice and nostalgic as well, especially for people who maybe don't want that, I don't know, like iPads, tablets and stuff. If you want something nice and interactive, I think those retro games are pretty good for that.
Yeah, for sure. I'm all for them. Yeah,
same. I got two more questions, which was, first one, as you know, Ryan, I do work with quite a few coaches, and I love this question. I'll shout him out actually from Ed. What should a young coach master internally before trying to change others? Now, I love this question. Like, Ed, for context, is one of the most diverse people I've ever met. Like, he came from Transylvania in Romania, and he's incredible. Like, as a young coach, he's very forward thinking. So I did not expect anything less.
It's a very good introspective question there. Yeah. When you say Transylvania, I'm thinking of like vampires and stuff.
He's had it all his life, mate. He's had it all his life.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Where is Transylvania?
In Romania.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Or is it? It's actually a town in Romania. Okay,
that's where he's from. So he's like, just had a lifetime of Dracula jokes, which is fair. But yeah, I mean, from my perspective, I think it's just awareness initially. If you're aware as a young coach, or just anyone in general, like if you're in a corporate career that maybe you don't like, and you identify that, that's the first step. They say it about meditation, don't they? If you do meditation and realize it doesn't work for you, you've become aware that it doesn't work for you, so it's worked, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And the same goes with this. If you're just very aware about the message you want to spread, or the not just what positivity you're bringing, but what damage you could be causing as well. I think that's a big level of awareness for young coaches to have, because I think a lot of coaches at the minute are, am I doing this and just copy and pasting what I did to get in shape, or am I doing this because I've got proven results, I can map out a bit of a journey for others? So I don't know your thoughts on that. Like,
it's a really good question, and well done, Ed, for that one. I think it's not a question that enough coaches ask at the start of their journey. My advice would be, know what you're really good at, know what you're not very good at, and honing on those two things. What you're really good at is your selling point. That's what's going to get people through the door. It's going to get you to custom. It's what people are going to be coming to you for initially. But what you'll find is those people will want other things. So what are you not good at, and what can you not provide them, and how do you get better at those? So for me, when I got into coaching over a decade ago now, I was really good at the bodybuilding side of things. I understood a little bit of nutrition. That was kind of a middle line point, but I wasn't very good at it. It's maybe like the performance side of things, like maybe the strength style training, maybe the performance running aspect. So that's something that I had to go away and learn. My weaknesses lied in even the physiology and anatomy a little bit. So I had to go and really understand that. I knew the exercises, but I didn't know why they worked, or what they worked, or where the insertion points in muscles were. So I had to go and learn the anatomy a little bit to understand, when I'm coaching this, I want to be able to give people really good, direct answers to things, and help them understand it as well. So I think, know what you're good at, know what you're bad at, and really honing on those two.
Great advice. And it's a cliche, but you don't know what you don't know. And sometimes when you learn something and you go, oh shit, I know nothing. And then there's this entire world. I used this analogy the other day about Takeshi's Castle. Ever given this
Great
before?
show.
So when there's a game on Takeshi's Castle where there's loads of doors, and the contestants run towards the doors. Some of them are boarded up, and you just bounce off of them. And other ones, it's a paper door, and you smash through it.
Yeah.
And then you've got more doors, and you're like, oh, okay. And then you run at another one, bounce off a few. It's a bit like that as a coach, I suppose, because you're constantly running into doors and being like, nope, there's no way through that one.
Yeah.
But there will be a door that you smash through, and you go, oh my God, there's more. And that it never ends. It's just constant Takeshi's Castle, never ending Takeshi's Castle.
Yeah. And you'll forever be getting clients who just pose new questions and new issues, and you're right. It's a good analogy, to be fair. Yeah, paper doors versus hardwood doors. Any other questions?
Just two very quick ones. We had one about fasting. So we got this one from Nath, who said, is fasting worth it? And I've spoken to Nath separately about this, just to give him some context, but I'd love your thoughts, Ryan.
Comes at a really good time, this. I've just listened to an awesome podcast about inflammation.
Okay.
It's from a doctor, and I can't remember her name, I'm sorry, but she's been studying this for over 20 years, and she works at the University of Birmingham. She did a really good podcast where she gave 5 things that help inflammation and 5 things that are going to improve longevity of life. She's actually been over to Okinawa in Japan, and those people over there have the highest centenarians in the world.
Yep.
So the highest amount of people between over 80, 90, 100. And not only their kind of the highest numbers, but the highest quality of life in the world. So she's been over to that area, she studied it. And what she found was fasting for 16 hours a day, maybe not every day, but definitely in your week, is phenomenal for reducing inflammation and longevity of life. So I used to have a real bugbear with fasting, if I'm being honest with you, being totally honest. Really hated it. And that's from my experience and experience with clients. What I always found was when someone came to me and tried to fast, I'd always say to them, how long have you fasted for? And they say, I'd do it for 2-3 months at a time. Only 2-3 months? Are you still not doing it? No, I fell off. And there was always that fall off, and the fall off was always really bad. So I didn't like it for that reason, because it was it was encouraging yo-yo dieting. It was basically like them not eating much, not getting enough food in while they're fasting, and then dropping off, binging, and this yo-yo diet had emerged. It ruined the metabolism, ruined the fat loss. So I didn't like clients being on it. But I do now think there's a lot of health benefits, and I've had my eyes opened a little bit more recently when it comes to the inflammation side of things, because I think there's a time and place for it. And not every day. I think people go gun-ho with these things, don't they? Right, I'm going to fast and I'm going to do it 7 days a week. Just start with one. Just have 1 day a week where you do a 16-hour fast. Then if that's going okay, perfect. Go for 2, 3. You might do it Monday to Friday and have the weekends off. I think it's very difficult to do it Monday to Sunday, 7 days a week. But I think fasting definitely has its place. It's so when you fast, obviously it reduces inflammation, but it reduces it because it increases cytokines, and these things are essential. And you need to be really aware of like what's causing inflammation in your body. And if you are someone that has high levels of inflammation, I do think that fasting has a really, really positive impact on that. I can go into loads more details about this podcast and other things that she mentioned. I was going to say I won't, but I will actually tell you one more. She said a quote on this podcast that really stuck me. She said, "Sitting down is the new smoking." And I've thought about that a lot since she said that. And we don't smoke as much as a nation now. I think smoking is on its way down. I have to say that, like, vaping's quite high, right? Yeah. But I do think that not as many people are dying from like lung cancer as they used to, because actual cigarette smoke has gone down. Cigarette smoking has gone down. But standing up, she says, for inflammation is as bad, if not worse, than smoking.
Sorry, sitting down.
Sitting down. Sitting down is as bad. So she's saying stand up more in your day. Yeah. Be really aware of how much you're sitting and standing. If you can get a standing desk at work, if you can move your laptop onto a shelf or onto the work surface, the inflammation that causes it is phenomenal. It really is. Our bodies aren't designed to sit down for this amount of period of time, and for the longevity of life, it's a huge one.
The main difference between Okinawa and us in the UK is the culture. That's the number one thing. So for them, for people being born into that culture, that's completely normal for them, because that's a cultural thing. They might fast for 16 hours. People in the UK, unfortunately, have a bit of a disadvantage because it's not in our culture to last for 16 hours. So you have behavioural patterns and thought patterns and beliefs ingrained in your mind to say, this is not the done thing, is it? Like, there's temptations everywhere. Everyone's having breakfast. Everyone's doing X, Y, and Z. I'm confident that if we switch roles, things would be massively different.
Definitely.
But yeah, so there's definitely that to consider. And ultimately, it depends on the goal as well. Like, I feel like the reason why someone like myself and you might not have been bothered about fasting earlier on in life is because we need a lot of calories.
Yeah, we do.
And if we've maybe got, we grew up in a household full of 5 people, eldest of 3 brothers, so there were food sometimes were very scarce, and it's like, I'm just going to eat what I can when I can. I can't be picky about this.
Yeah.
So I think that's definitely worth an honorary mention. But then at the same time, the hunger signals that we get, I've probably mentioned this on the pod before, but there's typically 2 types of hunger. One is hedonic, which is eating for pleasure, and the other one is homeostatic, which is eating to survive, basically. A lot of people mistake those two, where they go, I'm starving, I'm really hungry. That's essentially hedonic hunger, where if you go 8 hours with no food, you're not going to die. You'll be all right.
Yeah.
But your body's hormone signals are saying, we normally eat at this time. And it'll send them signals loud and clear. Your stomach will be grumbling. So it is just a hormone regulation thing when it comes to food. Yes, the overall daily calories and that sort of stuff plays a huge impact, but I'm not downplaying that by any stretch. But I just think it's important to make people aware of that. And if that is new to anyone, that is hedonic hunger and homeostatic hunger.
And when you fast for, they say 16 hours is kind of like the golden number really, but it has to be a 16-hour fast for these cytokines to start taking effect.
Yep.
I think if you can, I can't remember the exact time frame which she said, but I think if you can make it something, I think it was like up to 20, 24 hours, it improves even more, but obviously it's harder to do. So yeah, I think it all depends on your goals. Like who's the guy that's asked this, or girl?
Nathan. I used to play football with Nathan back in the day. Yeah.
So what are your goals? Like if you want to get jacked and build muscle, even though fasting's good for the inflammation and a few other things, you probably shouldn't be doing it because you're not feeding your body that protein that it needs at different intervals throughout the day.
Yeah.
There's a reason why bodybuilders eat 6 meals a day rather than just 2 in 2 massive lots. It's because they're drip feeding their body protein and they're playing into our protein synthesis, which is where our bodies can only uptake so much protein. So if they're having, let's say a bodybuilder's having 250 grams of protein a day, they could split that into 125 in 2 meals.
Yeah.
But the body's not going to uptake 125 grams of protein in one sitting. So they'll split that over 6 meals so they all gets uptaken. And they're basically putting themselves in this massive state of, muscle growth. But again, if you're not bothered about muscle mass and that's not a big priority, then yeah, include it in your week. Go for some fasting. I think there's definitely health benefits to it, but it depends what your goals are.
And it's a test at the end of the day. If you try it and you don't get along with it, just make sure you do it for a certain period of time. If you then say, yeah, it's not for me, you need to sort of deep dive into why wasn't it for you? What benefits did you feel? What drawbacks did you find? Can I overcome those drawbacks? So it's just being clinical with stuff and not changing too much at once. You could just say, I'm going to eat exactly the same thing, but I'm just going to squish it into this 8-hour window. And just for context, if someone is maybe prone to those, restrict binge mentalities, it's
probably not the best thing.
Maybe not the best thing.
Yeah,
so
sure.
so we just have to get that an honorary mention.
Cool.
Final 2 questions, mate, which, just to conclude the mailbag, 2 very light-hearted ones. Got a favourite Christmas film?
Oh, good question. What is my favourite Christmas film? I've watched, The Grinch, the cartoon version. I reckon I've watched that 27 million times in the last month. It's like Harlow's favourite show. It's like literally every day when she gets back from the nursery, it goes on. So I've come to quite enjoy that, weirdly, even after I've watched it 100 times. But if I'm being honest, my favourite one that is very nostalgic is the Santa Claus, mate.
Yeah.
It's gotta be.
Cool.
Yeah. With that what's the little boy called? He got quite famous, wasn't he?
I can never remember.
No, I can't remember because he was like a child prodigy, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But I love that film. Really nostalgic, lovely little story. Yeah, the Santa Claus for me. What about you?
There's a classic Home Alone. All right,
is it really?
I love Home Alone. But then recently, and I feel bad going on record saying this, it is The Holiday. All right, Jack Black.
Have we spoken about this before?
We have. I love
The
Jack
Holiday.
Black.
I like Jack Black. I like all the people in it. I like Cameron Diaz. There's just something about that movie for me that's just a bit wet. It's a bit wet.
That's why I like it, mate. It's got a story within a story sometimes. I like something that goes everywhere and then knits together.
I've actually got a feeling Amy asked me to watch that last night and I pied it off.
It's great.
Yeah.
I really like it. And funny story about the Grinch as well. So I came home on Thursday night. I was working late. And I came home and Amy and Ted are watching animated Grinch. And there's a scene on there where it says why the Grinch hates Christmas. And Teddy were like, what's that building? Well, that's an orphanage, Ted. He's like, what's an orphanage? It's like, well, it's where little boys and girls go who haven't got parents. And we sat and watched it for a bit, and I could hear him sniffling, Ted. And I'm like, has he got a cold? Does he need his nose wiping? And he got really upset, bless him.
Oh my God.
And he said he really felt like,
wow,
sorry for the Grinch. And Amy came downstairs. She's like, what's up? And he's like, I just feel really sad for the Grinch. She went, how does that make you feel about your life? You don't know what my 5-year-old son said, Ryan?
Go on.
Said he felt lucky.
Wow. That is phenomenal emotional intelligence, that. I'm very impressed. There's a lot of things you said with Ted. I called him Fred then.
He's been called worse. Last night, for example.
Not Fred, Ted. Ted's really impressed me with his emotional intelligence from including other kids and being very cognizant of like when he's doing good things and bad things, and that's just another thing that made me think he's a good kid, isn't he? Yeah.
I don't get shocked very often, but when I just sort of saw him getting upset on behalf of this little green cartoon man, I'm like, oh, bless you.
I know.
Yeah,
it is quite a sad story, that, in a weird way, isn't it?
Really?
They do the movie quite well where he's made out to be the bad guy, but then when you see why he's the bad guy, you kind of start feeling a bit sorry for him, and that's kind of the Grinch story to a T, isn't it?
And the last one, Ryan, this is a question that could divide the nation.
Oof.
When do you take your Christmas tree down?
It's a good question. We generally tend to leave it a few days into January, just because New Year's hectic, innit? You don't want to be taking your Christmas tree down on New Year's Day. But isn't there a cut-off? Is it December 5th? Oh, sorry, January 5th? You got to take it down by? Oh, it's bad luck.
Shall we have a look?
Yeah, because every year my mum goes, make sure you've taken your Christmas tree down by that date. It's either 5th or 7th of Jan, I can't remember.
By the 12th night of Christmas, so it's January 5th or the 6th, depending on
I think that's what I've been told. 5th of Jan, your tree's got to be down, so we always try and get it down before then. Yeah,
just do it when I can.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, I'm just like, well, we'll try not to do it before New Year. Do you know what I mean? It's like as soon as New Year hits, like this year, Ryan, New Year is January 1st on a Thursday, so I don't think there's any harm taking it down on Saturday 3rd, Sunday the 4th.
Yeah, I think the weekend. Yeah, we'll take it down the weekend.
Fair.
Do you know what I love when you see like the lazy dads who've put the Christmas lights up outside and then it gets to January, they're not down, February, they're not down, and they never turn them on, but they're just not taking them down. And it gets to like someone you're like, he's keeping them up that lad, he's not taking them down now.
It's just part of the house now, isn't it?
Yeah, and then every year they stay there.
Yeah,
we've got a few neighbours, I won't name any names, who do that. Mate, anything else you wanted to add to our random Q&A, would you rather, ways to avoid punch-ups at Christmas episode?
Boxing Day mailbag.
The Boxing Day mailbag.
Yeah. It's topical, boxing punch-ups, Boxing Day.
Maybe, it's
like a holiday, mate. It's bringing it all together.
I like that.
Good conclusive finish.
I quite like the emptying your sack, if I'm being honest with you. Maybe we'll stick with that. Anything else you want to add?
No, just to thank everyone for support this year. It's been
absolutely.
It's been wicked. We've had some cool chats about hopefully guests we can get on for next year. So look, if you're feeling festive, you're still feeling in good spirits, and you want to put anyone forward for next year, someone who you think could be a great guest, we've reached out to a few people already, so I'm expecting big things for 2026.
And if you're feeling even more festive, please guys leave us a review. It helps the show more than I can even imagine in terms of us getting to new audiences and getting bigger and better guests on. So leave us a review, like the show, follow us wherever you are, and we will see you in 2026. Thanks for joining us. See you soon.
See you soon.
Top man.
Cheers, mate.